All right, today we're diving into a plan that has literally helped millions of people jump off the financial hamster wheel for good. We're talking about Dave Ramsey's The Total Money Makeover. Now, this is not some get-rich-quick thing. It's a challenging but totally proven way to finally get a grip on your money. So let's get into it. You ever have that feeling? You know the one. You're working your tail off, the money comes in, and poof, it's gone. At the end of the month, you've got nothing to show for it except a fresh stack of bills. It feels like you're just running and running but not getting anywhere. Well, that feeling of being stuck, that's exactly where this whole thing starts. And this quote from Dave Ramsey himself just nails it. This is the moment when things can actually change. He hit his own rock bottom, a point of total frustration with the stress and the constant worry. And his whole argument is that until you get to that point, until you are truly deeply fed up, you're probably not going to make a change. So what's the escape route? It's not about finding some secret stock tip. It's about a complete shift in how you see and handle your money. It's built on principles that Ramsey says are just common sense, but maybe that kind of common sense isn't so common anymore. Okay, so where do we begin? Well, it's not with complicated spreadsheets or investment jargon. The first big idea in the book is that your real financial battle, it isn't with your boss or the economy. Nope, it's a lot closer to home. This right here completely flips the script on what we think personal finance is. We think we need to be some kind of math genius or financial wizard, but Ramsey says, look, it's like getting in shape. Most of us know what to do, right? Eat better, move more. The problem isn't the knowing, it's the doing. It's about fighting your own habits and your emotions around money. Which, leads to a pretty uncomfortable question. If it's 80% behavior, who's in charge of that behavior? Who's the one making the calls that are keeping you stuck on that wheel? And there it is. The journey starts by facing, as Ramsey calls it, the person in the mirror. After he went through his own bankruptcy, he had this huge realization that his money problems started and ended with his own choices. And that's the absolute key, taking full 100% responsibility. That's step one, no excuses. All right, so once you accept it's on you, you hit the next big boss battle, denial. It's that little voice in your head that whispers, it's not that bad. I'm doing just fine. But as we're about to see, just fine is maybe the most dangerous place you can be. I mean, think about it. What does normal look like in our culture? It usually means having a car payment, student loans, credit card debt. The book points out a crazy stat. Something like 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So if you feel normal, chances are you're in a really fragile spot. Maybe one car repair away from a total crisis. Ramsey uses this famous analogy to explain how we get into this mess. You don't just wake up one morning drowning in debt, right? It happens slowly. You put a little on the credit card here, you get a small loan there. The water gets warmer, just 1 degree at a time, so you barely even notice you're in serious trouble until it's boiling. And that's the trap of being just fine. It keeps you sitting in that warming water. It stops you from making the big, radical changes you need to make to get huge results. The apathy of fine is what keeps us from jumping out of the pot before it's too late. So what keeps us sitting there, convinced that everything's fine? A lot of the time, it's the myths about debt that our culture has fed us for years. Ramsey says these ideas aren't just a little off. They're a big lie, and they're designed to keep you trapped. Here's the number one myth, that debt is some sophisticated tool you can use to build wealth. We hear it all the time, leverage other people's money. But Ramsey argues this tool has a bad habit of blowing up in your face. In fact, when they surveyed the Forbes 400 richest people, 3/4 of them said the best way to build wealth is to get and stay completely out of debt. Oh man, this one is so common. We just accept that a car payment is like a utility bill. It's just always going to be there. But the book points out this is a massive wealth-killing habit. The average millionaire, they're not leasing a brand new luxury car. They're driving a perfectly good, slightly used car that they paid for in cash. And if you want to see the real cost of that normal car payment habit, here it is. It's staggering. According to the book's math, if you took an average car payment, about $495, and just invested it every single month for your career, you could end up with over $5 million. That one normal decision can cost you an actual fortune. And what about the supposedly smarter option? Leasing. Ramsey has a name for it, fleecing. Because with all the hidden fees and crazy high effective interest rates, he calculates them at often over 14%. It is hands down the most expensive way possible to have a car. Okay, this is a big one. We're all programmed to build our credit. But just stop and think about how backward that logic is for a second. You have to go into debt to prove that you're good at handling debt so that you can get approved for even more debt. Ramsey says your FICO score isn't a report card on how well you're doing with money. He calls it an I love debt score. And this chart makes it so clear. Just look at what makes up your score. Your history of paying debt, how much debt you have, what kinds of debt you use. It's all about debt. Your entire score is based on your relationship with borrowing money. If you have no debt, your score eventually goes away. And according to Ramsey, that's when you know you've really won the game. Okay, so if you reject all those myths, if you break out of that denial, what's on the other side? It's a totally new way of looking at things, a new way to live. And yeah, it requires sacrifice, but the reward is absolutely massive. This right here, this is the motto of the whole Total Money Makeover. It's such a powerful idea. It's all about short-term sacrifice for long-term freedom. It means you're willing to be different now so that later you can have a life that most people only dream about. So what does that look like in real life? It means you might drive a beat-up car for a while so you can save up and buy a great one with cash later. It means saying no to dinner out when your friends are putting it on their credit cards. It's about trading what other people think of you for genuine financial peace. And trust me, the payoff is so worth the price. So really, it all comes down to this one question. It's a challenge. Now that you've seen the myths and the potential reward, there's really only one thing left. It's a decision. The decision to finally face that person in the mirror and get off the wheel for good.